Hey everyone, what is up? Thank you so much for tuning in and welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a minute since I've been on here. From the title of this video, you can probably tell it's a little bit long overdue. I just wanted to share with you guys why I left Japan, why I left the JET program, and talk a little bit about those reasons, like do I have regrets, dealing with like reverse culture shock, and then also traveling back to Japan. So for those of you who are new here, if we just rewind, I participated in the JET program, the Japan Exchange and Teaching Program, where I taught English at a school in Kobe, Japan for 1 year from July 2017 until August 2018. So I've been back in the States for about 2 years now, and when I first went there, I was like, I'm gonna stay in Japan for 5 years or like however long I can. I wanna like live here permanently. It just felt like home to me more than the United States did, and I was just so passionate about it and still am. So it was kind of a shock to a lot of people that I left after only 1 year. So I just kind of wanted to come on here and talk about it and share my experience. So if you are interested in any of those topics, or if you just want to hang out, then just keep watching. Okay, so let's get into the reasons why I left Japan. Number one was I was homesick. I was really homesick. Like, I never thought that I was going to experience homesickness that much, which looking back, I'm just like, why? Because I lived in Pennsylvania for 22 years, like start to finish, and never moved away from there. And then I moved to the other side of the world. So like, duh, I'm going to get homesick. Within the first couple of months, I was just like missing my family a ton. And it really hit me like I'm on the other side of the world. If anything happens to me or to them, or if I just feel like I want to be supported by my family and I can't just go easily go get that, that really took a toll on me. But you know what the thing is? I actually live in California now, and my parents and a lot of my family still lives in Pennsylvania. And I still experience homesickness to the point where like I want to move back there again. So like this is a recurring theme in my life. I experienced it in Japan and then I moved home. I'm experiencing it now and I want to move home. It's definitely a complex emotion to deal with. So if you have any thoughts about dealing with homesickness that you want to share in the comments, that'd be super helpful, and I'd just love to open up that conversation. So that was kind of reason number one why I left. Reason number two was the job. If you've seen my other video about my JET program experience, I talk a lot about like the workload that I had when I got there and how I just wasn't, it wasn't what I expected at all. Yes, I expected to be teaching, and even though I didn't have a background in teaching, I knew it was gonna be challenging from that aspect, but the workload that I felt I had at my school compared to everyone else that I knew was just really tough. I mean, I was teaching, I think like 18 classes a week. And as the assistant, not like the full-time teacher, that was just, I mean, it was really hard for me. I remember I would go home after work and be like still working on my lesson plans for the next day and Googling like what to teach for English communication 2 on the JET program. Like I just had no idea what I was doing, but I somehow just made it work. It was during that time that I had to make my decision. Those first couple months, I had to decide if I would recontract for another year. And I was like, I don't know if I can do this, like just based on the job alone. Now, don't get me wrong, my colleagues were amazing. Like once I finally mustered up the courage to tell them like, hey, this is a lot, I can't handle this like on my own, and I want to deliver like better quality classes and not be so stressed out all the time. They were super understanding, and then the next semester or school year or whatever, they cut back some of my classes, so then I only had to teach 15, I think, or 14 a week instead of 18. And I was so much happier when I did that. And I hope that set the next ALT at my school up for a better experience too, because it was really tough. And I just had no idea what I was doing. Like, they don't prepare you for that enough. Like you have a 4-day orientation in Tokyo before you start to kind of learn how to put together lessons and stuff, but I was not prepared for 18 lessons a week. And that was really hard on me. I was like, I can't see myself doing this for another 3 years, 1 year. Like I just couldn't see myself doing it. The last reason is kind of a weird one, but I was really experiencing FOMO. I think that's the best way to put it. Not about like, oh, my friends at home are having more fun than me or something, but in the sense that I thought by living in Japan, the more time that I spent there post graduating from college, the harder it was going to be to get a job when I got back to the States, like in corporate America or whatever I decided to do. And when I think about it now, I'm just like, you should just do what makes you happy and then deal with that stuff later. You'll be able to get a job, like don't worry about it. And also, money and job status and title are not the most important thing in the world. But from growing up in that society, I learned from capitalism, like getting a job is really important, like having money is really important. I felt like the longer that I stayed in Japan, the harder it was going to be for me to explain to a company, like, after I graduated college, I went to Japan and taught English for 5 years or 3 years or whatever, so now you should hire me for this marketing job. Like, that just didn't make sense to me. I felt like if I was only gone for a year, I could sort of play the card that was like, oh, I just took a year-long break after college and all the education is still fresh in my mind and I'm ready to like work or whatever. Thinking about that now like makes me cringe, and it sucks that was part of my decision, but I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. Like, it really weighed on me from time to time, and I think, you know, along with the homesickness and the job not really suiting me, yeah, it was just, that was a tough one to deal with, and it's a tough one to admit online too. But I really want to share my honest experience on here, so hopefully I can help someone. So do I have any regrets? No, but there's always a but. Do I wish I still lived in Japan? Yes, but maybe under different circumstances. Like, if there was a way that I could have studied Japanese more and became more proficient in that, and then maybe landed a different kind of job. Like, my dream in life is to be a nail technician or do something with nails, and I thought it would be so cool to work in like a Japanese nail salon and get to like do all those crazy fun designs and stuff. So maybe in a different life, like, I would still be there doing that. But do I have any regrets about leaving the JET program specifically? No, definitely not. Would I do it again though? Maybe. Another quick thing I wanted to touch on is reverse culture shock. So when you leave a country that you were living in for any period of time, when you go back to your home country, there is a period of reverse culture shock, and that looks different for a lot of people. For me, what that looked like wasn't finding it hard to fit in with Americans. What that looked like for me was honestly like detaching from my experience in Japan a little bit, just so I could be more relatable to the people that were surrounding me. So what happens is, when you live abroad or you go on the JET program, you acquire this wealth of experience and knowledge about different cultures and all this stuff, and it really changes you. And anybody I think who's traveled to a different country can say like it changed their life in some way. So then when you go back to the place where you came from, you realize like, wow, I've changed a lot, and seemingly nothing else here has changed. Like, my family's the same, my friends are the same, the restaurants are the same, like everything's the same. And it's just really hard to cope with the fact that like you're so different and you're never gonna see the world the same way again. And trying to relate with people over that is really difficult. Like, you wanna open up and you wanna talk to people about your experience and how amazing it was, but you also know that it's kind of personal to you. They're probably not gonna get it. You can try to help them get it and share things as they come up naturally and educate them about your experiences in different parts of the world. But it's really hard to answer the question like, how was Japan, and not diminish it to something like, oh, it was so life-changing and great and amazing, when really it was so much more than that. And just by answering that question in a sort of short, concise way, it almost felt like I was diminishing my own experience, and I became like my own worst enemy. So reverse culture shock is definitely a real thing. That would be something else I'd love to hear your all experience about in the comments, and how you've coped with that in the past, or if you're still trying to figure out how to cope with it. Because the way that I coped with it was like surrounding myself with people all the time to kind of forget about Japan, drinking, partying. Like, it took me a good like 6 months before I finally was able to move on with the rest of my life and not be so like depressed by the reverse culture shock. I will actually leave a link to an article that I read like right before I left Japan that was really good about leaving the JET program and how this person coped with that, and they just put it into words in a really good way. It was something along the lines of, when you leave, you feel like you still kind of have one foot in Japan and one foot in your home country, and you're bridging those two worlds and not feeling like you really belong in either one. So yeah, I'll leave that link down below and you guys can check it out. The last thing I wanted to talk about is traveling back to Japan. So I actually have been back there since I moved away. It's been 2 years, so I'm really lucky that earlier this year in 2020 I was able to book a trip back to Kobe. I spent some time in Osaka. I got to see some new places, got to see some old faces, and go to all my favorite stores and restaurants, and then at the same time see the things that have like changed and catch up with old friends and stuff. I set the goal when I left in 2018. I was like, okay, I want to come back every other year at the minimum. And I actually accomplished that, and I was really glad that I set that goal for myself and I like saved up for it and planned it and everything. So if you're on the JET program or you live in Japan or another country or whatever and you leave and you're trying to figure out like how to stay in touch with that part of yourself, I would definitely recommend trying to go back. Maybe not 2 years later, but if you can like save up the money and travel, it is so worth it. And it really keeps that fire alive in your heart to like travel and stay passionate about the place that you once used to like love and have a lot of memories from. It's weird being back on YouTube. I feel like out of breath, but I really wanted to start making more videos sharing my different life experiences. I hope this video was interesting to you in some way, whether you could relate or you just liked hanging out and hearing what I had to say. Please feel free to like this video, comment, let me know what your experiences are like. I would also love to hear any questions that you have. I'll answer, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks again so much for watching. Bye.